Midwest, home sweet home in good old Indiana. Place of small towns, cozy families gathered together, and fields of corn and rustic woods. But, like any town, there is a dark underbelly that often goes unnoted. We are part of that darkness. We lurk in the shadows to bring you the best in horror, metal, and stories of the grotesque. This is Blood in the Cornfields.
Welcome in, cellar dwellers. I am Mark.
I'm Ivy.
And we are Blood in the Cornfields. Good to be back with y'all again. We're blowing through some episodes.
Dude, I can't believe the last episode we had was 66.
I know, that's crazy. I saw that and I was
like, we've done 66?
That's crazy. Sorry, I'm messing with my keys. Yeah, it's
That's not.
It is. It's kind of crazy to think about.
It's come a long way.
It has. It has been. And I've gotten requests for cryptids, by the way.
Oh, have you?
Yes,
Cool.
I had such a in-depth conversation with I won't mention names, but she does my hair. Mm-hmm. And was so interesting. Like we talked about religion and energy, and
that's what happens when people do your hair, man.
And anime and like just so much stuff. And we realized that she's been cutting my hair for 3 years now, and she's had her 2 children that like I first went to her when she was pregnant.
Aww,
and so then she had her first maternity leave, and then, came back and then was cutting my hair, and then she's done her second maternity leave, and now she's got both of her kids and everything. So,
cool.
Like she was cutting my hair before she was even married and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of cool. And it's just gotten to a point where it's like, I was going to somebody else for a little bit because, the maternity leave and stuff, but it just like, I don't need anyone else cutting my hair.
You got a hairdresser, you gotta stick with them. I'm the same way. I get my hair done by Alicia at Rich Beauty Parlor. Yes, I'm going to put a little plug in there. I love that person.
There you go.
Good human, and they are planning on giving me some Bride of Frankenstein streaks. So,
okay, when are you trying to do this?
Hopefully this summer.
All right. Okay, that's a good summer look.
Yeah, that's
a good summer look.
Get my streaks in.
Okay, because you got like a whole all hair going right now.
I got the Marge look going on.
That's sweet. Well, we do have some news, to kind of get into. Mm-hmm. Before we get too far into it, just to remind y'all, if you're interested in shirts, we have Creeperware on Etsy, which is live. We're currently working on possible other designs. We literally are just discussing one in particular, but I have some other designs that I'm meeting with Mikey to kind of go over some things tomorrow. So when I find time to fit it in, Creeperware. Oh, and Creeperware's got a new logo. So if there's any suggestions out there, so I want to make a like Cellar Dwellers Club shirt.
That would be badass.
And so like me and Mikey are going to kind of put our heads together. But the thought that we have for those of you out there is the Misfits Fiend Club. The little guy in the middle and then the circle around it that has the writing. Yeah. It kind of like my Nubbin shirt, my Nubbin Nub Club.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
So basically kind of same thing. So I'm trying to come up with something like, Cellar Dwellers, whatever, Creeper Club, we're not doing that. But just as an example, like that's kind of what I mean.
Yeah. So if you're an artist, come to us.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Any suggestions? Yes. And, we're discussing an artist, possibly doing some stuff. Yes. And I apologize. She had mentioned something to me. I was at work and
it's all good.
It's gone. So, yeah, we're kind of talking about that as we speak. And then other artists as well, too, definitely let us know. So, and another thing, too. So we might as well just talk about this on air. So, as you know, me and Crystal like to walk downtown. We go to the brew, which has the best coffee in this area. Best coffee in this area,
Electric
hands down.
Brew, hell yeah.
Electric Brew. And then the record store is right next to it.
Ignition.
Yes, Ignition. Mm-hmm. So we got coffee, and then we like to kind of like walk around, and the Fold was having a private party.
Yeah, we went to that.
Did you go to that?
Yes, we were there.
How was it?
It was so fucking good.
Okay, because We were on the outside.
It's New Yorker style, so like that's why it's called the fold. You gotta fold that up.
Gotta fold it.
Fold that puppy up to eat it, and it is delicious.
Okay.
It is very good. It's the same people that did. It's the same owners of Goshen Brewing Company doing a pizza restaurant.
Sweet.
And it was packed. It took us an hour to get our food.
Yeah, I could tell. We were on the outside like little creepers looking in the windows and shit.
That's cool. Aw, man. Yeah, we were in the back of the line for a good 30 minutes for that soft open. Because all the Mug Club members who are members of the GBCO. Mm-hmm. And we were stuck in the back of the line. We finally made our way up. Mm-hmm. And, like, the line just kept growing. And we're like, holy shit.
From the outside looking in, does it have, like, a sports bar-y kind of look? Or is that just maybe me?
A little bit. It's definitely looks like it's, like, you know, trying to be big city kind of look. It's very cute. Which like, cool. I like it. I think it's really neat. Okay. It's definitely got a different aesthetic than what Constant Springs had. Yeah. I think it's also trying to find its footing, too.
Probably, yeah. Yes, because I was trying to figure out, like, hey, when's it open? Because I definitely wanted to pitch it. I looked before the episode, no current information. Yeah. There's articles that say, oh, they plan on doing the summer, but then they were updated and it's late spring, which is right around this time. Their website says coming soon still. Yeah. So I don't have any details on that, but the fold, I'm definitely interested in trying it out. And then there's a new store, too, called Underground Vintage.
Yes.
Which is kind of cool.
Dude, we stopped in there, too.
Yes, okay, that's crazy. So I went in there and saw all the Jordans that they have, and my brother, as a hobby, restores them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he finds them and, like, restores them fully.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I told him, like, hey, you need to go in there and try and sell some. So, yeah, that was pretty cool, but that was my little off-topic.
I think that's so cool, though. We went to the same place.
I know.
So just never, like, cross paths.
Yep,
that's funny.
You guys were the socialites, and we were the little creepers staring in the windows, which... That's pretty fitting. So, wanted to get into a couple new things. Don't know much about this movie. It's called Covet. But all I really know is that it has Kane Hodder and it has Bill motherfucking Moseley in it.
Oh my God.
So
match made in heaven.
Yeah, Bill, I think it's something about like one of them has a wife that gets murdered and then they're getting accused of it or something. I don't know. You can read the little fucking thingy. But it just looks interesting. I think it's still like in the very early stages of production. Mm-hmm. No real other major details about that really. Next thing I was going to go over something really cool. As you all know, I'm a collectibles guy myself, and there is a badass toy that I am sad that I will probably never own. And it's an exclusive Leatherface from Trick or Treat Studios, and it's in special packaging, like a Don't Mess with Texas all red.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And it's a Leatherface toy, but it's exclusive to Texas Frightmare. So it's only being sold at this convention, which I think is in Houston. Because I was like, damn it. My brother's in Galveston, which is like 50 minutes from Houston. But yeah, I don't know. It's going
Texas on. Texas is so fucking big.
I know. It's going on at a time that I'm not going to be there. But anyway, there's only 500 of these.
Wow.
And I mean, I'd love to have one, but I'm not willing to
drive all the way there.
Yeah, drive there or like drop a lot of money that I'm sure resellers are going to do it for.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So yeah, no, I would love to have it if I was there, but I'm not really interested in it. So next thing I wanted to talk about too was I'm so excited to see this movie. Dangerous Animals is now on Shudder.
Yeah, that was the one where it's like it's not the sharks that are dangerous; it's the dude that throwing them to the sharks. Yeah.
Or I want it to be like a certain way, and I'm hoping that it is. Mm-hmm. Like I'm hoping that like he literally like feeds them to the sharks. That would be like
they're his pets.
Yes, that would be so fucking cool. Such a good spin on an idea if that's what they do, because it's like I can't recall too many movies where that's happened. I mean, maybe a one-off where it's like, oh, we feed you to the pigs, or whatever. You know, like a one-off. Yeah. Stuff like that. So there's not, but it's not like the main
plot.
Yes. So that's pretty sweet. So check that out on Shudder. What else did I have? I think I had something else. I don't know.
Wasn't maybe it something else? It was like a convention or something that was coming up.
Oh yeah. The that's you're spot on. So Dead Formats is having a VHS convention August 30th in Indianapolis.
August 30th.
Yes.
Damn.
So shout out to Jessa Jupiter Flux, which we've been shouting out pretty much every episode now.
Yeah.
Dead Formats VHS convention. Go check it out. That should be pretty cool. I don't know. I mean, Indy's close enough but far away that it's
oh man, do I want to make that drive?
I don't know. So we'll see how I am financially and all that sort of stuff. Oh yeah, so yeah, I even screenshot it from Jessa's page.
That's cool.
Yeah. Which I think she's in Vegas now. She's been so busy. I'm not sure how long she's even been home.
Yeah.
Because it's just like I see her posts and she's just going everywhere. So such a talented and busy woman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what do you got?
So I only got two things. So the first one is we're so fucking tired of this shit.
I know.
So apparently the same studio that did the Terrifier franchise is now, I don't know if they're rebooting. I have no idea if it's a remake. I'm so sick of this shit. They're doing Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I'm assuming it's the original because there were multiples. I think it was Bill Moseley was in 2, I think. 2 or 3, I forget which one. Where he had the stuff 3. On his brain. Was it 3? Yeah. I have a weird Silent Night, Deadly Night pack. It's like, I think 3 and 4.
It's got weird shit.
It's weird. Yeah. Yeah.
Because Silent Night, Deadly Night goes in so many different directions. They even have the 4th movie where it's witch related, but it hardly has anything to do with Christmas.
Yeah.
And then the 5th one has Mickey. No, who is that? Little old guy, Rooney. I think it's Mickey Rooney.
It might be Mickey Rooney.
Yeah. He's in that movie, and he had originally bashed the first movie.
Yes, okay, I know who you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was still a little bit, he's an older actor.
Yeah, he was an older actor, yeah. Even in that movie.
Yeah, I can picture his face. I can totally picture his face.
I'm just so sick of this shit. I mean, outside of horror, we've also had fucking Lilo and Stitch got a fuking remake that didn't need to happen. Yeah, you didn't know about that?
I don't know the Disney stuff. Or is that even Disney?
It is Disney.
Is it?
Yep.
So I don't know the difference between Pixar and Disney.
They're owned by the same company now.
Well then I don't really need to.
You're good.
It's okay.
But yeah, so they basically did a live action pretty much almost shot for shot with a couple of changes remake of Lilo and Stitch, and that's just a 20-year-old movie. There's no reason to do that.
Well, I mean, try to cash in on rehashes from the next generation.
It's just frustrating to see. It's there's new things, and I get, you want to put the studio behind Terrifier. Oh, they're going to be doing this big thing. Cool.
That's my thing. That's my thing. If you have to tell me what the director did or what the executive producer, which I've learned now can be, you just opened up your fucking wallet and paid. You didn't have jack shit to do with the movie. Now, not always, but it can mean you didn't have dick all to do with the movie. Right. That just always gets my goat. Don't do that. Don't resort to whoring yourself out to some shitty name of this guy one time did this movie that was meh, not just garbage. So brought to you by him,
Exactly. It's just, it's we didn't need to do this again.
No, we need originality, folks. I mean, come on.
If you got an idea where you want to do a Silent Night, Deadly Night kind of thing, and it takes place during Christmas, don't call it Silent Night, Deadly Night. Do something else. I get that when sometimes you slap that name on it. We had it during the Hellraiser thing with the Final Girls. Sometimes if you got that script and, if I slap on this popular franchise, more people are going to see it. Okay, sure. But at least make it not a shitty script.
Yeah.
Are we going to have Billy in this again? Are we going to have callbacks to Garbage Day?
I don't know. I'm not sure. And I think, speaking of two, just kind of off the top of my head, Eli Roth is doing Ice Cream Man.
I saw that.
Yeah. Which, is that the one that I own where it has that guy that's in every film and he's got the ice cream? Yeah. And it's a blank screen?
Yeah, it has Ron Howard's brother.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he is in everything.
Yeah.
I have that movie. I thought that was the same one.
Ron Howard's brother was in the Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 with the witches.
Really? That's what I'm saying. He's in everything. He really is in everything.
All right. Then lastly, the last thing I have is, okay, I like the Fear Street franchise.
This has been getting...
The first 3 films in the trilogy that were released to Netflix were amazing. They were very good. They're very well done.
One of them.
You should try it. They're pretty good.
They're on my list somewhere to be watched.
And they felt original. And they were original. And I know that they were based off of R.L. Stein's books, but it's like it was a love letter to those books, but also being a love letter to 90s horror, 70s horror, and like kind of folky horror, respectively.
Okay.
Because they all take place in different time eras.
Yeah.
Well, Prom Queen took place in the 80s, and that was the recent one that was released onto Netflix, kind of the same way. So I did see the film, but it's getting bashed by a lot of people.
I've not seen anyone say anything not a good thing about it.
But here's the thing. I will say one good thing about it, okay? I will say one good thing about it. I will say that it is a very generic slasher movie.
And it doesn't have to be bad.
And it wasn't that bad. Yes, it didn't have anything really original as far as like the kills and stuff like that, but it didn't need to be. It was just a fun little slasher movie. It delivered on what it promised. It promised 80s.
Yeah.
It promised a slasher film. And it promised a twist because it was based on a book.
Oh, okay.
This one was actually based on an actual book, also called Prom Queen, that R.L. Stine did. And while, yes, not really spoilers, but kinda, if you read the book, the ending's the same.
Okay.
With a twist for the actual movie.
Oh, okay.
So it's nice that it had that refreshing twist to it, because you could see it coming. You could actually see it coming. But it was nice because if you had already read the book, you know how it ends. You weren't anticipating them doing that twist.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Sure, yeah, no, that does.
And the nice thing too is it's called Prom Queen, and 15 minutes of the movie happen outside the prom. The rest is all at the prom.
Okay.
I haven't seen very many movies like that.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
So that was kind of refreshing to see. That's a little different.
Yeah.
I don't see how, prom is a scary time, but I guess if you have, kind of a closed down school, that kind of leads to kind of spooky atmosphere,
I think, so for me, I know, and this has been in almost every prom movie, but I think a lot of it is the dark hallways.
Yeah.
Is the creepy part about the prom.
Exactly. And and they really are good with this particular set, it being a school, using that to its advantage, because there's, the killer or killers are stalking around and doing shit. And it's like, but where are they at? Sometimes they pop up in a mirror like you typically see. Sometimes it's like around a different corner, so it's kind of neat. It was refreshing. Also, some of the characters are pretty fun. But unfortunately, I will say this, because a lot of people say the same complaint. The mean girl and the good girl look a lot alike.
Oh, interesting.
They genuinely look a lot alike, and it's sometimes hard to
realize who's who.
Yeah.
I hate that.
So there's some scenes where it's like, who is that? Is that the bad one? Is that the good one?
Sure.
Why is she a bitch all of a sudden? It's like, okay. So yeah. And I guess they have been commissioned. Netflix commissioned the producers to do 10 more Fear Street adapted books.
10 more?
10 more.
And this was the fourth?
This was the fourth. Yep. And they kind of do a thing where it kind of relates back to the first, the trilogy, but not really. So we'll see where the rest of them go. I'm hoping they delve into some ghosts that were introduced in the third movie or in the trilogy, but we'll see what happens. Oh, but we do have one last thing. Yeah.
So on some sadder news, Ed Gale, who was Chucky. So he was Chucky in the sense that he was a body double that would the little guy running.
Yep.
That was him.
That's so cool.
The thing I think is the cutest thing ever, Chucky just running the way he does, was him. So he passed away at 61. There's a really cool picture of him standing I think in a windowsill, and they had the Chucky doll. And then they put him in standing like Chucky, and it was like, oh my gosh.
So, that's so funny.
Yeah, he was little Chucky running around.
That's cool. That's too bad, though. Like, he's a talented actor. He was also in Howard the Duck, and he was in Dolly Dearest.
Oh, yeah.
So he liked playing a doll.
Yeah, I loved Howard the Duck as a kid.
Howard the Duck is actually really good. I don't care what people say.
I know, I loved that movie. We have a true crime episode. This true crime is going to be a little bit different. So I selected this one. I really gave it thought, especially after talking to my stylist, because it's kind of based around some of the content that we were talking about, even though she has no clue, and I just kind of dawned on me. So we're going to talk about the Mumper family. So the Mumper is a family that was in Bloomington. Oh. Also because I lived in Bloomington. Okay. Bloomington is a fucking rad city.
It really is.
Bloomington is the city in Indiana that feels like it shouldn't be in Indiana.
Yeah, there's like a really awesome goth club that's in that area. God, I can't remember. Sorry, Elijah. I can't remember the name of the. I think it's like something Dark Lounge or something like that. But yeah, they got a really good golf club there.
So this one I chose because I absolutely think it is a story that needs to be told. This is a story that I've not heard of. There's not a lot. It's a pretty straightforward case. There's not a lot to go into in depth, but I believe that the victims for this one definitely need to have their story told, because it's actually quite shocking and phenomenal. Once I get through it all, you'll understand what I'm saying. But I think this is going to allow us a lot to have open discussion just on the fly, because this is such a... I don't know how to describe this case. This is a fucking head scratcher, and there's so many different directions that this could kind of take.
On a lighter note, you're really good at storytelling. So, like, I always feel like you're better at describing anything that happens when it comes to true crime. I mean, I've done a couple, but like, you're better at it. I like when you do that.
Because everything to me is a story. Yeah. My stories pop up every 5 minutes. So let's get into this one, because you all will understand everything as I get into this. So we're going to start off. So on the morning of September 6th, 2020, so that was Labor Day weekend, a family friend of the Mumper family showed up to the house looking to see her friend Emma. Emma's the first person that we introduced. So Emma is 26, and Emma is the oldest daughter. And you'll get into everyone. So there's a daughter, a son, and a mother. After knocking and calling her friend Emma's phone for about 45 minutes, getting no answer, getting no movement in the house, she decided to use a key and go in to check on Emma. After entering the house and heading up to Emma's room, she saw something no human should see. She saw her friend shot in the head and dead in her bed. Now, after seeing this, obviously she ran out frantically and called the police. When the police entered the house, they found something far more worse than just Emma dead in her bed. What police found was one of the worst crimes imaginable, a family annihilation.
Jesus.
Yeah. In the home, along with Emma, was her 18-year-old brother, Jacob, and their mother, Greta, all dead in their beds from gunshot wounds.
Fuck.
Last to be found was the perpetrator of this horrible event, the father, Jeffrey Mumper, dead by suicide. This is an especially hard crime to fathom, because the Mumper family was a very well educated and as everyday, in my opinion, as it gets. Yeah. So Jeffrey, the father, who I'm just kind of going in and explaining him for just detail and stuff like that. So apparently Jeffrey was in his second bout with cancer. He had gone through cancer treatments and it beat cancer, but apparently it had come back. I don't know how soon after the crime, soon before the crimes were committed, that the cancer, but everything I was reading and watching on YouTube is that the cancer had come back. So I've also read that apparently, and I only saw this on like one source. So with a lot of these crimes, like a lot of stuff I find, they don't really go into a lot of detail, like how they used to back in the day. Like I sifted through probably 15 different articles, 3 different YouTubes, a news clipping, and different things like that. And all of them basically told the same shit, which I found was really weird. Because I wanted more from this story and I didn't really get that much. But one thing that I had read was that the family was on the verge of a divorce. A friend of Greta's said that even though she was thinking of divorcing Jeffrey, she still drove him to his chemo appointments. So, you know, it was still probably amicable. Yeah. And judging by what I've read about them and stuff like that, you know, that's probably how they wanted to keep it. So Jake, the youngest of the family, was a very talented swimmer. The year he passed away, he was planning on besting his state finish last year of 18th place in the 50. I don't know if it's the 50 by 100 or the 50 and the 100. I'm not a swimmer.
Oh, so, okay, hold on.
So I wrote it down as 50 and 100. But I don't know if that's 50 by 100.
Maybe
that's
50 and 100 yard.
Could be.
Like, what was that? What does it say?
So I put in the 50 and 100 because I wasn't sure if it was two different races.
Those technically are two different things. I was a swimmer for 10 years. Basically, the 50 is down and back. Wait. So if it's like a 50 anything, it's down and back. 100 is twice down and back.
Okay, so I'm assuming it was two different races.
Yeah. So if you can beat your record in that, that's awesome. Especially if you can make it to state.
Yeah.
That's
so
better.
he placed 18th in state, but this is state. So remember, because like when 18th sounds like it's not that great, but actually making it to state,
that's hard. I only ever made it to divisionals. I never made it to state.
So, and in everything that I read, even from hearing interviews with former teammates, they said that the 18th place finish was not his best performance. They anticipated him finishing better. So he actually underperformed in his teammates' eyes. Which, and I've been in sports, that shit happens.
That shit happens, but that's fucking good that you could even make it there, in the first place. Like, good on you, dude.
And that was his junior year that he placed 18th.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, so he was planning on coming back his senior year and really doing a lot better. So he was a senior at Bloomington High School North. His teammates, and I don't know if this was consecutive, but 2 years, keep in mind he was a junior, his teammates voted him swimmer of the year twice for his leadership and positive attitude. Aww. So that either means as a sophomore and junior he got voted, or like freshman, junior, or something. So 2 out of the 3 years he was swimming, his teammates voted him the MVP.
That's cool.
He was also involved in Bring Change to Mind, a club working to end the stigma around mental illness.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. Did a lot of stuff. So I'm going to kind of go through this and kind of fill in some cracks too. So, since Jake, obviously, as we know, had passed away, Jake was, there's a scholarship awarded in his name annually to a swimmer at Bloomington High School North. So each year they give out a scholarship in his name since 2020. And I didn't really find out what the terms, but they award it to a swimmer each year for in recognition of him. So Emma, his older sister, was 26. Jacob was 18. She was 26. Emma's 26. She was a PhD student in clinical psychology at Stony Brook University in New York and was a self-described empath. Emma also co-developed Project Empower. It offers free online training that allows parents around the world to help their children with anxiety.
Wow.
As an undergrad, Emma gave children swimming lessons. Friends say the experience, coupled with her own struggles with anxiety, inspired her to study psychology. In interactions that she had with toddlers, she could spot the anxious ones, said her boyfriend, and she could give them extra attention because she picked up on traits that she had as a child. Also, I forgot to write this down, but she was, and I don't know how these work, but it's my understanding that there was a sorority that was like either... how do I want to put it? Like educationally based.
Yeah. Or
you had to meet certain educational requirements to be a member of the sorority.
Yeah.
And she was in that. So it was a high established, you had to have your shit together type sorority to get into, not just like, hey, I'm going to get hammered.
Get phased, or was it? What's the word I'm looking for? Hazed? Hazed?
Oh, yeah. Where they do shit.
Yeah, where they do shit.
Like Revenge of the Nerds type shit?
Yeah.
So Stony Brook awarded... Emma, a week after she passed away, her PhD.
Oh.
Yeah. And then mom. So mom was Anne Marie Greta. She went by Greta and she was 54. She was months away from obtaining her degree in teaching children with special needs when she was murdered.
Wow.
She worked as a bus driver for Clear Creek Elementary School. Her favorite holiday was Halloween.
Aw, what a lady after our own heart.
I know. She made sure to hand out big candy bars to kids on the block. A friend said about her that she was just so kind and thoughtful and generous and would do anything to help anyone.
Aw.
Oftentimes at the own detriment to herself. She was a ferocious mother. A scholarship in Greta's name was presented to a teacher's... So a scholarship in her name is presented to a teacher in Monroe County each year.
Aw.
So now I'll go back over this. So what we have is a father who has done the absolute unthinkable.
Who is struggling with mental illnesses, yet everybody around him deals with mental illnesses.
Yeah. So
and it's like, what the... I don't know. There's a lot of questions, and maybe you're going to answer those.
Yeah. So for me, the reason why I want to talk about this is because it blew me away with like mom's trying to help special need kids. Daughter's 26, getting her PhD and helping out children. Their son Jacob was an awesome swimmer and had tons of friends that were leaving flowers on his car and on the doorstep of the family. And it's just like, this like on the outside looking in, like, leave it to Beaver.
Like this perfect family, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I look at, like, if I compare my family to it, like, not that, anything's terrible, but, like, I don't stack up to that. I don't have a PhD in my family, and all this shit. And I didn't compete for state, And the father, and I'm not going to talk about him very much either, but it's my understanding that he either had his doctorate or was a teacher at a doctorate level for IU.
Holy fuck.
And that's why I believe they lived in Bloomington. The school has since removed any identification of him and doesn't acknowledge anymore anything about it. So that was just going based off of one record. I did look at some articles that IU has since removed that had a link attached to this, and they want nothing to do with them, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
So... all right, to kind of recap, so we have, this father that goes one by one and murders his whole entire family. And there is a interesting fact that ties into this. Every 5 days in the U.S., a relative murders a family member. Every 5 minutes. Now, that's not a full-blown family annihilation. But this is a crime that was virtually unheard of. The earliest one on record was in the 1800s. A gentleman axed his family to death.
A gentleman. I love what you say.
Axed his family to death. But for me, so the reason why I want to kind of get into this is because... so I have so many questions. First of all, my first logical question is, and I've heard this before, and I cannot fathom how this is possible. How the fuck are you going around and shooting every single person in your family in their bed while they're sleeping? How are they not waking up? How are they not hearing this? And that's what scares me, because like, this brings up the other aspect of why I wanted to talk to you. So I believe in good and evil. I believe in black and white. I believe in light and dark. And to me, I can't fathom any other explanation than this is pure evil. I don't know how it's evil. I don't know how it came about, but I cannot fathom going around and just executing every single one of my family. Yeah. And then turning the gun on me. Like, it makes no sense. This family was like, had such great shit going for them. Yeah. Like such great shit going for them. And I mean, that's my first thing is how did this even happen? And like, it's either one or two things. It's either there is some power in that house that somehow kept each family member from hearing a gunshot in a home. Keep in mind, it's in a home. Yeah. A gunshot outside, with the way sound travels
loud
is a
as
lot
fuck.
different than a gunshot inside. It is 10 times louder in an enclosed space. So that either means he bought a silencer. So this was way more premeditated than just a lapse in judgment, which I couldn't find any information saying that. I also could not find any information on the murder weapon. I could not find any information on where the victims were shot. I didn't go into the coroner's report because I don't know. I didn't want to dive that too far into it because it's a pretty depressing story.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I'm completely puzzled.
I 100% agree with you on that because it's just, where do you even begin? Like, where? I don't give a fuck what this guy was thinking, honestly, when he did this, or if he wasn't thinking or what. But what was so bad that you had to execute each and every one of them? Were you just jealous? Were you jealous because of their accomplishments and here you are maybe having another bout with cancer and you might die?
And you're feeling that you're at the...
Then why the fuck do that? Like, just kill yourself then, dude. Yeah. Save everybody else the hardship, kill yourself. I mean, that sounds terrible, but it's like, I much rather... It's kind of like that one that I did a report on, that one kid that shot up like a FedEx.
Yeah.
If he would have killed himself a long time ago, none of that shit would have happened.
Yep.
If this guy would have killed himself in the bed, sad, but you know what? At least those 3 magnificent people would still be with us.
Yeah.
But, as a funeral director, you see shit. You see shit. You see evil. You see depression. You see so much. And the impact that it leaves on so many people. Like...
The one other aspect that I did think about and looked into, and is there slight evidence? Yes, but I don't feel enough for an explanation. So chemotherapy can have negative effects to where it can cause aggression. It can cause outbursts of anger, but from everything, because obviously I was searching outside of this case, just researching the positives and negatives of chemotherapy. But most of it is negative towards the body, hurting other organs, different things like that. But it did say that it can have, I don't even think it really said like violent outburst or anything like that. I think it said like, they can be irritable, they can be angry and stuff, but like, to have a reaction from chemotherapy to go around and systematically decimate your entire lineage is just fucked. That's why I don't know. This just seems like some sort of fucking evil got a hold of this guy because it's like, and I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what was, because if he was at the end of his rope, maybe he was dealing in some shit to try and make a deal for his life. I don't know. You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. And I don't know how bad energy can enter somebody, but like, and there's no evidence of the CTE stuff like Chris Benoit, which is what this kind of reminded me of, but that's on a whole fucking nother level. But yeah, I don't know. I'm left. We're all left with no answers whatsoever. There's no point. This guy just fucking annihilated his lineage, his whole entire family. Fucking just took him out. And like, what gives you the right to think that you can do that? Like, as a man, like, what do you think gives you the fucking right that just because of whatever reason you have in your head that like these other people don't need to live?
Right. And I don't give a shit that you're going through a fucking divorce. Divorce them. Good. Get out of here. Like you hadn't, like, we've always run into this thing. It's a simple solution.
Yeah.
And they fucking choose the worst path. Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck? Because
every single one of these stories I ever cover, there's a moment in time where it's like, and not only is it the right path, it's the easy path.
Yeah.
It's the easy path.
Yeah.
Hey, don't buy that gun. Like, hey, don't go in the house that day. If you're marching up there and you're like, I'm going to kill my family, just don't go in the house. How about that, bud? Like, how about you go to the bar, get a hooker, beat off in a parking lot. I don't give a shit.
Do something.
Yeah. Go fuck a tree. Like, whatever, But there comes that point where they cross that threshold and they start down the path of I'm thinking about doing this to I'm putting it in action. And that's where it's like this whole thing just becomes just completely fucked. Like,
I mean, okay. I don't want to get into his headspace, but like, I mean, after he slaughtered his family, did he just sit there and think, huh?
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah, because you think, how long a time? Like, I know with Chris Benoit, like he, hung himself in the weight room, but this was a day or two after his family was gone.
Yeah.
And he lived in that house, which is fucking crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Which, like, what is he thinking? Like,
yeah.
Did he have regret? Because that's what I often wonder. Because to me, if I'm evil, because I believe in energy. I think everyone has energy. I think there's all sorts of different things in this world that we cannot explain, that we can't see, touch, smell, or hear.
Mm-hmm.
I always give the example, the easy explanation is gravity. We know gravity's a thing. I played sports. Those of you who played sports, momentum. Momentum is a thing, whether it's a psychological energy that comes over you. Also, dogs. Dogs are so keen on energy. They know right away if you're aggressive. They know right away if you need to be, dominant. They know so much about people just based off their energy. And there's actually people that see energy in colors.
Yes.
There's people that
auras.
see, different auras and different things like that. So I'm a huge believer in whether energy is your soul or not, I don't know, but I don't think I even need to know. Like, I'm not supposed to decide that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. But I believe that energy can be manipulated, or there's other possibilities for energy that could come out there. So for me, if I'm evil energy, my ultimate goal would be to possess somebody, make them do something that's heinous, and then withdraw and let them sit and stew in what I made them do.
Yeah.
To me, that's the ultimate evil, is to inject yourself, have them commit the heinous crime, and then remove yourself and have them with all the emotions of like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
That would be fucked.
Yeah. 100% agree. And like, evil people just fucking exist. I mean, we know this because we covered, serial killers and shit like that. But it's like, the fact that that type of evil exists is so strange to me.
I know.
It's like, what the fuck? Really? I mean, hell, just 2 days ago, I don't know if you heard about this, there was a man in, I think, LaPorte County who killed his 102-year-old, I think it was mother-in-law, and then his wife, and then himself.
Oh, what the fuck? What?
Like, she was already 102. What the fuck?
Yeah.
She's gonna die soon?
So, but stuff like this didn't used to happen as often. And, like, I don't know. I mean, I can go out there and I think the lowering of morality, I think the lowering of self-respect, and I am a firm believer in respect as a dying art. I don't think that there's a lot of respect nowadays. And, who am I to say that maybe lowering those things, whether it's through, I don't know, whatever method that may be, maybe that makes us more susceptible to have negative energy enter us, because I can't wrap my head around a logical person doing this. I can't just say to myself, this was a guy that just was like, you know what, fuck my mom and fuck my wife. I'm going to smoke them both.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe in that. I don't think that's, to me, I can't fathom how that's actually possible. Like, I have to try and rationalize, like, how does someone do that? Because that takes a lot. This guy walked to 3 different rooms and smoked his family. Like, that's fucked. Like, that's no regret after the first one. No, you're going to go to number 2. No regret after the second one. Like,
You're just going to keep going,
yeah,
huh?
Your only daughter, your only son, your wife that they're older, so I'm assuming they've been married quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like, to go and just... I'm assuming it was shots to the head. I'm hoping it was.
I'm hoping
that they were asleep. Yeah. But, like, put yourselves in that situation and, like, what does that take to go through and shoot your loved one in the fucking head while they sleep?
Yeah.
It's unimaginable.
Mm-mm.
And to me, that's the only way that I can rationally explain it is some evil energy entered this person, and maybe they wanted it to, or maybe they were more susceptible to it. I don't know. But
I mean, I think a lot, when somebody's suffering from an illness and all this
could be,
stuff.
yeah.
And I'm not justifying anything.
No,
at all.
It's not justifiable.
You do see that a lot with people with illnesses, like chronic illnesses where they're about to die and they just don't want to face it alone.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this was the case for him. I have no idea. I think he's a shit person.
Yeah.
But I know there was rumors speculating with that 102-year-old that, well, she's going to die anyway. I don't know if the killer or the wife was suffering from something else, I don't know. I heard it was, again, rumors. We don't know. We can't confirm. But
yeah.
His wife was also suffering from some sort of like chronic illness and that sort of thing. And it almost seemed like it might have been a mercy killing. But either way, it's like, no.
But then what about
didn't do that?
Yeah, what about the extra bodies he decided to go for?
Yeah.
He just figured, well, I got the bullets, might as well use them.
I don't know, right? Because it was his wife, the 102-year-old mother-in-law, and then himself. And it's like...
And the thing, too, with this case is there was this one kid that was friends with Jacob that was over the week before everything happened and said that the mom was like his second mom. And he said that, I hate saying this, but his father was like a second father to me. And this guy was just over there a week before this happened. Jesus. It was a friend of Jacob. They showed like pictures of them together. I don't remember if they swam together or not, but which is just, that's why first of all, everyone in this family was a successful person, like working on themselves, accomplishing goals. Mom, going back to school at her age, that shit's not easy.
No, especially, yeah.
That's not easy at all. And she was so close to the finish line, and then the daughter, like, geez,
She almost got her PhD.
Yeah, like, just accomplished. And then the son, doing his shit and
no doubt's popular,
Yeah, because he did charity stuff too. It wasn't just the sister and everything. So it's just like, that's why I felt this case needed to be told, because this is definitely a case where light needs to be shined on these victims and people need to hear their story and understand. And remind me, I've got a news article that has good pictures of all three and not the dad.
Yeah.
But just that, these people needed to be celebrated and, their accomplishments alone, like, Yeah,
that's none of those are easy things. That takes a lifetime of achievement, to work up to something like that. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So, I tell these stories to shed light on the victims, but to also just, like we talk about, like there's always that fork in the road that no matter what you're dealing with, what you're doing or anything, there's always that point where the threshold is crossed. And in every single one of these cases, the perpetrator, I should say, came to that threshold and just said, fuck you. I'm not only am I doing this, I'm choosing the hard path in order to do this. We look back at what happened to Ryan. They just had to leave him alone. Yep. Just kick him out or just leave, And then with this, like this dad could have done anything, anything under the sun, would be better than this. And not only did they cross that thresh,hold, they did the act that was way harder to do when, if dad would have just done blow in a hooker, Like, this wouldn't have had to happen.
Or, just...
And then he could have been like, look, I know you're divorcing me. I get it. I just did some blowing hookers. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, cool. Then do that, dude. Better than the alternative. So, yeah, I mean, it's a crazy world out there. And the other fact is I knew nothing about this case. And this is a town I lived in. This is a family annihilation case, and I knew nothing about it.
It's so recent, too.
Yeah, knew nothing about it. It's crazy. And it's
sad.
As society, yeah, we've been desensitized. Our morals, our self-respect, our respect for others has been lowered. So don't be one of those people that does that, Remember that every person that you come in contact with is going through something in their own way, and they need to be treated as such. Mm-hmm. And if someone's ever a dick to you, just walk away. Whatever.
That's not worth your time.
You never know. So, this story just spoke to me because, I wanted some time to kind of go over and really talk about the bad energy that's out there. And, I can't say what made this guy do it. I can't say it was bad energy. I can't say it was anything, but I certainly believe that there is, bad energy out there. And I think that the things we do in our daily life slowly but surely lower our ability to be susceptible to that energy. Yeah, and it can manifest itself in small life choices. It can manifest itself into personal choices. And I would just call attention to that, to don't drop your standards as a person. You should always be respected and respect others. And there's no reason why, if you're respectful to someone, you shouldn't demand that in return. And if someone isn't, then that's not a person that you need around you. But you shouldn't ever lower your standards and your expectations of what you want out of life and the people that are around your circle. And just don't be susceptible to negativity. Anything that's in your life that's negative, try to root it out.
Yeah. This is a sad note to end on, but it always makes me think of the little girl who was murdered at the Martins in Elkhart.
Yeah.
I don't want to really name any names, but just a senseless act of violence. It was out of nowhere. It genuinely was. Don't hear all the rumors that you heard.
Yeah.
I think about her a lot. Sweet girl. She literally was just doing her job.
Just doing her job. That's it.
And one of the things I remember about her funeral service was there was this song that the family played, and I think about it a lot. And it kind of brings back to what you said. You can just look the other way and do
anything other than an extreme violent act. Like that's never the right answer.
Well, and also just being kind to people and you can walk away from and that sort of thing. But
and if it's wind beneath my wings, I'm gonna lose my shit.
No, it's it's a song by Lady Gaga called "Die with a Smile."
Oh, okay.
That was played at her funeral service, and it made me think of that. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's still a hard one I think about often. I think about her. I think about her family quite often. She's a sweet gal. Mm-hmm. I didn't know her personally, but I'm sure she's probably helped me before whenever I've been there, because it's just down the road from my work.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for half of the violence that happens the way it does. I genuinely, and I think you can agree, I don't understand it. Yet we talk about it all the time on the podcast, but there's the difference.
And I think I say the same shit every time.
There's real and there's fake.
Yeah.
And the fake horror helps us deal with the real shit that's out there.
Yeah.
These villains, these characters that we celebrate for being these heinous, terrible people, they're fantasy characters. Yeah. They're not real. They're not actually hacking people up.
I so easily separate the art and the reality in my brain that even though, like, I'm watching a movie about, like, someone being murdered or something like that, like, it's the same thing as if I read, like, a story about someone being murdered. It's like, to me, there's no correlation whatsoever. It's like I have reality and I have fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And, if I watch a movie about being a football player, I'm not going to try and join the NFL.
For a second, I might want to try to kick that ball, but once I kick it and it doesn't go very far,
you know what I mean?
Guess I give up on that dream.
It's the same thing. There's no correlation between me watching a football movie and thinking that I'm fucking Troy Aikman. It's the same damn thing because I can separate that. And that's, same thing with like video games and stuff. It's, I don't know whether, just things are different, but to me, it's such a separation that I don't ever make the connection because it's just obvious in my brain that that's not a connection.
Mm-hmm.
They're two different mediums. It's red and blue. It's right and left. They're two different things. So,
right.
Yeah, but with bringing up this story, I really challenge everyone to always, like we say, look out for each other, because it's really what it takes. You don't know what someone else is going through, and help out. Like, I can't say that enough. Like, you see someone that's anything, in a wheelchair and they're trying to open the front door of the grocery store, hold the damn door for them. Someone needs help putting their groceries in their car, like, help them out. Like, if you see someone that is hurt and bleeding or something, stop and assist. Like, by all means, make sure that the area is safe. Just like any first responder, you have to make sure the area is safe before you administer any sort of aid. Yes. Yeah. And then, you keep going until someone more experienced comes over and then you pass it off to them. But like, do something, help. Like, don't just film. Like, I'm so sick of seeing that.
Yeah. Right.
So many fucking videos where I'm like, what are you fucking doing? Like, why are you filming? Go help that person.
Right.
Like, and that's
unless
the
it's staged, then it's
well,
like...
yeah. But not all of it is.
Yeah, I know.
And that's part of the I can't say that word.
Desensitization?
Yes. With society. And I think that is bad. I feel like the desensitizing makes you susceptible to bad influences of any kind. And I'm not talking like possession. It's not as straightforward as that.
I don't know. I'm Catholic, so don't ask me.
Well, yeah, there's, well, to me, I believe it's all energy. And I just think that, possession is a different form of energy. Like, who's to say there's just one type of energy? I mean, there could be literally millions that we don't even know that could be, I don't know. The realms of space, they say, is infinite. So if it's infinite, then that means there's never-ending options. That means that I'm an elephant on some fucking planet right now, if it truly is infinite.
Right.
So if it's infinite, then that means there's never-ending possibilities for types of energy. That's just kind of what I believe.
No,
and so I never limit myself to think that, like, oh, well, like, I don't believe in spirits, because I'm like, I absolutely believe in spirits because I think spirits are one form of energy. I think there's so many other millions of forms of energy. So I would never just close the door and be like, oh, no. Possession could be just a direct different form of energy that we know about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I know I'm kind of rambling. Sorry, listeners. But it's just something that is passionate to me because it sucks because I'm trying to raise a kid in this society and I don't want it to see it get worse. I want it to be more like when I was a kid. Yeah, there was still bullshit going on. There were still division amongst citizens. There were still, serial killers and there were still crimes, but it was different.
I think what made it different is that we have social media now, so it makes it feel like something that's happening, like horrible things that are happening in this world are just at our fingertips now.
Yeah, which
we
sucks.
We
can see it, yeah.
Everything in an instant. Same, like, okay, yeah, we back in the day, we had television, we had radio, that sort of thing. But now, everybody, constantly
and
on their phones.
And if you even throw the dark web into it, it gets even worse.
Exactly. So you have, like, just internet and interconnecting and just everything seems so close, even when it's so far away now.
Yeah. And I think another thing, too, that has bothered me about social media is it's given us a false sense of self-importance. And what I mean by that is I think that the way social media is designed is to really put yourself at the forefront, and that's good in a lot of ways. It's good for forms of expressions, for mediums like art and music and different things.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not good for everything, because you don't always need to be at the forefront. You know,
Right.
A lot of times there are other people that need to be elevated up above you. And it also, to me, can in some instances directly linked it to lack of respect towards others, because you think that your needs and wants are of a higher importance than everyone else that's out there. And that's just simply not true. And I think a lot of bad areas of social media, not necessarily social media as a whole, but a lot of bad areas of social media promote that, you know, and that's just definitely stuff that be mindful of for your children, be mindful of for your friends and your family, and, you know, be reminded that there is evil out there like this. This family had no idea they were getting murdered
Right.
the day before, you know? So there's people out there right now that will have no idea what someone next to them is truly capable of. That's pure evil. And not to freak everybody out,
Yeah.
but it's out there. And I think it needs to be brought to the forefront, you know, especially with this case, because the family needs to be recognized. And this guy doesn't get to accomplish what he wanted. He can't kill them because we bring them up. You guys share this.
Yep.
We put their pictures up so that this piece of shit can't fucking achieve his goal.
Exactly.
And he can go wherever he's fucking going, which I fully believe is in a different direction than these people. Whatever that direction is, that's not for me to speculate. I just believe he went left and they're going right. But we cannot let the memory of these people die.
And that's something that I say at every funeral service before I dismiss somebody. I usually say, you know, this may conclude our services, but please continue to share your loved ones' memories, because that's how they truly survive.
Yep, that's where the real work comes in. And, you know, like, I do my best. You know, I have Blake's kids over. I got pictures of that motherfucker on my fridge. I've got the pictures in my room. I talk about him constantly. Like, I refuse to let his memory die. And if I'm the only one in his circle that is still carrying on the fight, I don't know. I purposely forgot the day he died, so I don't even know how long it's been. If I'm purposely the person to carry on the fight and keep his memory alive, then so be it. Then that's a cross I have to bear. That's a responsibility that I earn as his best friend. So I would challenge all of you to keep that up, you know, keep that memory alive, because that is what their energy is now.
Yep.
You know, their energy still is on this earth. And yes, primarily most of it is went somewhere else, but that energy still is here on earth. Like, and I was just looking at his photo this morning.
No.
And yeah, because it's got all three of his kids and they're so tiny. So yeah, I would challenge all of you for that too. Keep that person's memory alive. And we're doing our part for these people that, you know, we've never even met. We're not fortunate enough to meet. I mean, you know, these seem like some great freaking people, well accomplished. And that's what really drew me to more tell their story rather than really, you know, because I could have searched more and I could have put this off for months and try to figure out how exactly they were executed or what this guy is, you know, cousin says blah, 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 whatever. I could have tried to put this off and done it more, but I really felt that, you know, the conversation I had and just the negative energy that surrounds the aura that is this story, like, we need to counteract that somehow by putting out good energy. And we're going to do that by talking about them, putting their pictures on. They're good pictures of all of them, except the one's a family picture. And Jacob, the son, is like so not fucking happy to have his picture taken with his sister and mom. It's so funny. But, you know, putting that out there and letting them. It
shows their personality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you'll know what I'm talking about, especially listeners, because you will probably already seen it. But it makes me laugh so hard. He is so pissed in the picture. It makes me want to know like what was going on. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. I could ramble on for this more, but really it's just about those three individuals and kind of celebrating them and putting them forward and giving them recognition from people that never met them, which I think is kind of cool that we do that.
I like that. It's like a mini memorial service.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so funny because like that's right up your alley. That's how we met. That's the big driving force for us as a whole. Which I think is so unique. I don't know any other podcast that's out there that really has that thing. And actually, I was talking to a new listener of the podcast. It's a girl I've known, like I was just friends with when I first moved here. Didn't really lose touch and stuff, but just with catching up, like, how have you been? It's been like probably like 4 years since I've talked to her. And just said like, oh, I'm doing a podcast, blah, blah, blah. And so she checked it out. And the one thing she said was like, we have amazing chemistry. And I was like, we appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I was like, like we get that, like you guys have known each other for a long time. And it's like, we really hadn't.
No, not very long. But, technically it'd be going on however old Casper is.
True. Yeah. Because you were pregnant when we started doing
this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so crazy. He's a representation of that.
He is.
That's so funny. I love how he always yells for me when I come in.
Mark! Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we're rambling on enough. So, yes, do your best to look out for each other. Kind of, take care of each other. Always watch your surroundings.
We say that all the time, but it's so important.
Yep. And so we'll do it again. So with that being said,
look out for each other and good night, cellar dwellers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.